Coming up on today's Next Fan Up podcast.
His mustache has got a groin injury.
Hold up, wait a minute, time out. Pod, I figured it out. Sam Darnold got mono from Neil.
Stop playing fantasy football and get a life.
Neil, the problem with your reasoning is that you assume common sense is common.
It's just getting tweets up on Twitter, isn't it? I mean, yeah. Carry on, Jay. Let Nick say something. Nick, say something.
Nick will have plenty of time to talk, but we're getting into Week 7 of the NFL. Here we go.
That's how we start! Yeah, baby!
32 super fans.
Where do the reports come from? Did you get an initial?
One Pod Vader.
That's football.
Every angle of the NFL covered.
All that kind of stuff, I get it.
This,
no question about it,
is Next Fan Up.
We're going to unleash hell here in December.
Hello and welcome to the We Gotta Get Moving because I gotta bring my son to football practice edition of the Next Fan Up podcast. Hey everybody, Week 7 in the NFL. The season's just flying by. We're having a whole bunch of fun here on the Next Fan Up podcast. It's Pod Vader here. I've got the regulars with me, and at this point, the regulars mean Neil in Scotland, James in Atlanta. Hello, Neil.
As a Washington fan, it couldn't go more slowly. This is painful.
That is a shame.
Last week we beat Miami. We beat. They didn't kick the extra point and beat us in overtime. It was jeez. And I've also got a bone to pick with the NFL awards for this week. So you carry on.
Okay.
Condolences on your win.
The mystery voice, you pipe down a second. James is the I almost called you the Atlanta Falcons superfan. You're the Eagles superfan. The Eagles.
Yeah, I call them the superior bird, but I have no idea because even at 3-3, the sky is falling. Having seen Gemini Man and watching the NFL 100 roundtable, I kind of want to clone those 6 guys and have them play defensive back this week.
How awesome would that secondary be if you had Dion, Charles Woodson, Rod Woodson, Ronnie Lott, Champ Darrelle Revis,
and Darrell Green.
It's a pretty sick secondary.
I love that secondary.
I think everyone would.
Why those guys?
Who you know darn well who those guys are, Neil.
I know who they are, but why those guys particularly?
They were featured in the NFL 100 roundtable on cornerbacks. Yeah, the idea was to have, they've done all these different position groupings. They all just sort of talk about the days that they played, how the game has evolved. That one didn't really span the generations like some of the others. The linebacker roundtable,
the linebacker was awesome.
That one featured really one small moment, one small snapshot of the NFL. All right, the mystery voice who doesn't have a secondary like the one that we just described. It is Nick, our Kansas City Chiefs superfan. Hello, Nick.
Hello. How's it going?
It's going well. I know you're only here for the Thursday night football game, so we'll try and get there as quickly as possible.
Sounds good. I also have some thoughts on Jalen Ramsey, naturally, because half of my fan base, or maybe 80 or 90% of it, wanted to do that deal, but I'll let you run the show.
Yeah, that's fine, Nick, but what's Steve's view?
What's Steve's view? I don't know, something in 5 words or less, probably.
The bye weeks this week are Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, and Carolina. So if you're a fan of those teams, you got the week off. So just sit back and listen and enjoy the show. Pigskin Pick'em. We'll talk about that when we get to the Pigskin Pick'em part of the program, which won't be too long. I've got some silly stats here for you that I know Neil loves these. Hope is plentiful in the NFL, according to the report I got from the NFL. That's because in 2018, after week 7, 5 of the 12 teams that qualified for the playoffs were either 500 or below in the NFL standings. After this week concludes on Monday night at MetLife Stadium, it's very likely that at least one team sitting at 500 or below will still make the playoffs because since 2011, at least one team has qualified for the playoffs after beginning the year at or below 500 through week 7. That goes to that stat I was talking about last week, Neil, about the teams that are undefeated have a higher chance of making the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Teams that win. Yeah. Usually good.
Yeah.
So who's going to be this week then? Who's going to be, Jay? Who's around about that 500 mark then? Browns?
That's a good question. Well, the Browns are off this week, so they're
also under 500.
That possibly. Let's see here. Let's see. Somebody is playing the Rams at 3-3. I mean, they got a tough road ahead, being with two teams ahead of them in their own division.
Well, the Eagles or the Cowboys will make it, and they're both at 500 just now. One of them will make it,
true.
At least. Yeah.
Well, one of them is guaranteed too.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who else do we have here? That's about it. All right, good. Here's another one that I know, Neil, you really love, and this comes from Houston James. There are 4 teams with a strength of schedule at or below 0.379. They are in first place, tied for first place, Baltimore and San Francisco, whose strength of schedule is 0.300. New England in third, 0.303. Buffalo in fourth at 0.379. Seattle, just for ha-has, in fifth, 0.403. I don't need to tell you, those are the 5 teams with the best record in the NFL right now.
Well, I can tell you that strength of schedule is pointless.
Good one.
I don't know how pointless it is, Neil. I just said those are the 5 teams with the best records right now.
I can tell you how pointless it is. It's very pointless. It's strength of schedule is only relevant for the moment you say it.
Okay.
Because, you can talk about your strength of schedule today, but by Sunday, when Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and let's say Patrick Mahomes all are lost for the season, strength of schedule goes out the window with it. It's ridiculous. It's pathetic style. It's just getting tweets up on Twitter, isn't it? I mean, strength of schedule. Oh, jeez. Carry on, Jay. Let Nick say something. Nick, say something, please.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, like, I think it's especially flawed in this case if they're not subtracting the wins and losses that are involving those teams. Because, like the teams that have won a lot of games face a bunch of teams that lost at least one game. That's kind of obvious.
All right. Well, whatever. Pigskin Pick'em. Last week I got 7 right.
You got no more. Have you got no more irritating stats for us?
That's it. Because we got to get to this Thursday night game, and then I have a ton of stuff on Jalen Ramsey.
So nice.
That was lame.
You're welcome. So we got a ton on that. So we definitely want to try and get things moving as quickly as possible. Last week I got 7 right in the Pigskin Pick'em. That's straight up and versus the spread. 9 was the most picks right in our Pick'em group by 9 people, including our buddy the Hooded Claw and Redskins fan forever 2019. But we did not hear from Catherine. Sorry, Neil. So our next invite now will go to the West Philippine Sea. John Paul Manahan. All you have to do is email us nextfanup@gmail.com, and you can join us next week, just like the Hooded Claw did last week.
Hope so. What was his surname?
Manahan.
Right.
C. That was well done. C. Thursday Night Football. Well, I think this is the earliest we've ever gotten to the Pigskin Pick'em. This is ridiculous. I feel like we've cheated the fans here somehow.
And there's not much to talk about in the league unless you want to mention Osweiler being grateful for the NFL because he's retiring.
No. There we go.
What about Myles Garrett talking about a Browns fan punched him in the face?
Yeah, that's pretty funny. But no.
After a selfie.
Kyle Shanahan talking about moving on from Washington because of his dysfunction.
We can get to that when we get to Kyle Shanahan, I suppose.
Okay.
All right. Kansas City Chiefs, they're 4-2. Denver Broncos are 2-4. They're playing on Thursday Night Football. The Chiefs have fallen to 5th in the power rankings. The Broncos have moved up to 23rd. The Chiefs are favored by 3. We have, obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs superfan here. He's going to help us break this down. But before I just hand it over to you, Nick. There's a couple of things I saw on Good Morning Football in regards to this particular game. The first one is that everybody's favorite babysitter, Tyreek Hill, hasn't scored versus Denver in 3 years. He also averages only 42 yards per game versus Denver, when he normally averages over 90 per game versus the NFL. So can Tyreek Hill help your team out and get out of this schneid?
Well, he's going to need to. I mean, really, the schneid has been all about injuries for the Chiefs. He came back last week, made an impact, and was kind of on a pitch count. I imagine he's going to be playing close to 100% of the snaps this time around. Because, yeah, I mean, having both him and Sammy Watkins off the field and a banged-up O-line and a banged-up Patrick Mahomes was a recipe for not good football, or at least not the level of Kansas City Chiefs offense that we've seen out of this group for a while. And there's been a lot of, in my opinion, dumb commentary about there being a blueprint for stopping the Chiefs' offense. I mean, there's things that have worked, but they've only really worked because this team's been so banged up. But yeah, I mean, I think they need Tyreek Hill to really produce if they're going to be able to get back into this. And this is going to be a lot tougher game than I think people look at it on paper.
Well, let's talk about that blueprint, because I feel like teams are taking the Patriots blueprint of man coverage, doubling Reek with the safety help over the top, and a 4-man rush. But is it only because Mahomes is hobbled with that ankle, so he's not able to get out of the pocket, rush around, and make a crazy play? So is it just a matter of we need Patrick Mahomes to get healed up so that he can run around again?
Yes. So this is the thing. Everyone keeps talking about the 4-man rush and press man coverage. So, yeah, if you can get pressure on the quarterback with a 4-man rush or a 3-man rush, then yes, that works against literally any quarterback. That's like having a cheat code, because it's like having an extra player in your secondary. You don't have to blitz to get that pressure. The reason why it basically never works against the Chiefs outside of one half of 2 games against the Patriots was that, A, their offensive line's pretty good, and Mahomes can run around and make stuff happen. That doesn't really apply when the whole left side of the line is injured, the replacements suck, and Mahomes has an injured ankle and can't get away from that pressure. So that's, again, it's about the injuries, not the scheme. And then with the press man thing, like, sure, I mean, that's something that's like, I mean, that's kind of a basic defensive strategy. The Chiefs are a finesse speed team. So what do you want to do against that? You want to bump them at the line, slow them down, get them to have to go around you on their routes. And so even if they beat you at the end of the route, they're not where they're supposed to be at the time they're supposed to be there. And Mahomes especially likes to and is really good at throwing the ball before receivers even take their breaks. And so he's just throwing to a spot where they're supposed to be. And if they're not there, it's a missed pass. The problem is like, that's all fun and games when, Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins are out and you can focus all your attention on, in terms of doubling and tripling on Kelsey. When they have the full complement of weapons, you can't do that because all 3 of those guys are going to consistently beat their man. And you have to figure out then who you're going to double, because you can't double them all. And once you decide who you're going to double, then, Andy Reid manipulates that by using 2 of them to pull the coverage one direction, leave one isolated. That's how the Chiefs offense works. So the fact that press man coverage is working now is, again, because they're banged up.
Well, isn't the other answer to maybe try and run the ball?
No. Against the Chiefs before the
Chiefs? No, he says, period.
I mean, okay, so this is another debate that's sort of raging, about the Chiefs and within the Chiefs fan base. I mean, I think in general, I think right now they should probably be running the ball more, just simply because every running play is a play where Mahomes is not going to get hit and it's not going to re-aggravate the ankle probably on that play. And I think, there's been times where, and Andy Reid has had this kind of tendency throughout his career where he's generally a brilliant play caller, but every now and then he just gets a little over his skis, and in a drive where they really just need to sustain the drive and keep moving, he throws out a bunch of crazy stuff, and it's 3 and out. And it's like, okay, that may have been a good play call in isolation, but right now we just need a first down. Okay, Andy? And so that's happened a few times. And so, yeah, mixing in a few more run plays would be good. I mean, they're actually not running poorly. They just haven't had a whole lot of attempts. But again, I think Tyreek Hill helps out a lot because he can stretch out the defense, create more space for those runs and all that. But in general, I mean, the Chiefs are passing at a higher percentage than any other team in the league. And I think they're right to. I mean, they're better at passing than basically any other team in the league. I mean, even with Mahomes' quote-unquote struggles, I mean, he's still passing for over 9 yards per attempt. Everyone's talking about